am so excited about this interview. I'm Lauren, owner of Modern Day Hypnosis, and I've got Judith Quin here with me. Welcome, Judith. Thank you so much.
Oh, my absolute pleasure, as always, to be in your company, Lauren.
Oh, that's so sweet. Can you start at the beginning with your story? Tell us how it is that you found yourself in this business and this modality that you offer.
Oh, I'll give you the short version. The long and short of it is I always wanted to be an actress. So I went to drama school. I was a classically trained professional actor for 20 years. What that means is a lot of handing out flyers on the street corner, a lot of doing work for no money, and having to do other jobs. So I did some temping for a long time. And I have also always been a natural healer. So my family have always massaged each other. And eventually I went and trained as a massage therapist. And I've always worked energetically. So I discovered a thing that was sound healing and people using voices to release pain and stress. And so I went and did this sound healing course, and it was amazing. And then the guy who ran it invited me to come and help co-facilitate the next course. And I started using sounding in my massages, and I started running sonic meditations, sound meditation circles. And one day, one of my massage clients said, "Judith." I said, "Yes, Barbara." And she said, "You're an actress." I said, "Yes." And you do that weird stuff with sound, because a lot of people don't understand it. And I said, "Yes." So, "Bruce has got to give a talk to 80 solicitors on a specific point of shipping law in a couple of weeks. Do you know anyone who could help him? Because he hates public speaking." And Bruce was her husband. And I was thinking, oh, yes, well, there's Stuart, who I learned sound healing from. Oh, but he's in America at the moment. And oh, and there's so-and-so, but oh, no, they're directing Panto. And it was one of those moments where, and I'm sure everyone will relate to this, it's those moments when the inside of your brain is knocking on your skull, going, "Oi, you, oi, you." And so I just said, "Yes, me." All my imposter family, all my inner children then were like, "Oh my God, who are you? Who are you? You're just a failed actress to tell a 65-year-old magistrate how to give a talk in front of 80 solicitors. They're people with proper jobs. They're real people with responsibility who earn proper money," and all of this social programming that we all have. So I said it anyway, and I went and I worked with Bruce. And during that very first session, and this was 11 years ago, this was in 2011. And during that very first session, while he was going through his talk, I was just like, oh, he's so disconnected from it. There's nothing there. I don't know. And I had expected to go in and give him what most people expect from a vocal coach. So posture, articulation, projection. And I was like, well, I can give him all that, but that's not what he needs. He needs to connect with what he's saying. So I just stopped him and I took him through this stuff, and we found out what lay underneath why it was important. And we also found what lay underneath what he was afraid of, which was, oh, but people are going to think it's boring. And that was the very first moment when I realized that actually my job as an actor was to find the truth. And it's like, well, if you believe, because what we believe is what people hear. So if you believe it's boring, it's going to sound boring. But if you believe it's important, it'll sound important. It'll sound vital. And then people will pick up. So I worked with him, came down the stairs, and I heard behind me, "Pay her whatever she asks and book her in for another session next week." And it was like magic. Like my ears were like, "Pay her whatever she asks." Like, I'm an actress. People don't value my time. People don't value my skills. And that's where it began. I wrote in my newsletter. I'm now helping people with vocal confidence, with public speaking. I have several of my clients come back to me saying, "Oh my goodness, yes." And then one of them I worked with, and about 5 minutes in, she went, "Oh, I didn't know you trained as a coach." I said, "I haven't, but you've got a coach." I said, "I don't even know what you're talking about. What on earth is a coach?" She said to me, but you're doing coaching, like the techniques you're using, they're coaching techniques." I said, "No, this is just how I work." So then I went and trained as a life coach. And that's when I brought everything together. And that's when I created my company, Your Whole Voice, because I realized it's about being connected to the whole of you, allowing yourself to be fully present, allowing yourself to believe in yourself. And when you're connected to the whole of you, then you can express your voice with confidence, with clarity, with the courage of your convictions in any situation through the whole of your life. So it's whole voice, whole life, whole you. So I started doing that. And then in 2016, I have what I now gently refer to as my blip, where I was having trigger warning, suicidal thoughts. And it was at that moment that I really used all my tools and techniques, the sound healing, the coaching, my self-awareness, to actually help me really clear my deep wounds, my things that were blocking me, and step into the whole of who I truly, really am. And that's also when my business really changed. And I realized I had to start speaking about the whole of my business, because I didn't speak much about the sound healing element of it, the vibrational energy work. And that, of course, is the magic that adds the little extra to the rest of what I do. And that's when my life really started changing around. And when suddenly it's just like, oh, okay. So that's, in as short a story as possible, how I got to where I am now, which is helping people recognize and release their inner gunk, release their rubbish, step into the whole of who they can be, accepting themselves, believing in themselves, and finding their voice in whatever way, shape, or form that is for them.
That powerfully said, which feels ridiculous to comment on, because this is your specialty, you know, a real talent that you've honed, and in so many original ways to make this thing that it is now. Now I'm curious about this blip that you mentioned, but I love what you're talking about, this sort of actor that we play, because I was really just this morning listening to a blip from a YouTube video about, you know, we're all in a story and we get to choose the character. So it's like we can choose who we are.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you were keeping those shadows down because of, you know, societal shame? I mean, do you feel like this, you know,
not shame. Like, shame has never been something that I have felt, but out of my personal choices that I made from a very young age, that I had to be the strong one. I had to be the one that was in control. I had to be okay. I had to be strong for everybody else. So I kept all my shit down, because if I showed my cracks, then I didn't believe that there was anyone strong enough to be able to support me. And that if I showed my cracks, then people would think I was weak. And who am I if I'm not strong? One of my very big labels that I had stuck on myself was I am the strong one.
Well, let me comment here to this strength, obviously just displayed, right? To be willing to have this you know, vulnerability or just this transparency of being a human and knowing these techniques, but still having the human element where we can't only just know them, right? We have to apply them.
Yeah. And we have to acknowledge and embrace them. And that depends where you are on the journey. And that's the thing. I think, you know, you'd have asked 30-year-old me, who finally decided, right, you know, I have to accept and forgive my dad for his inability to show any love. I might have mentally forgiven him, but I was still holding on to the heart pain. And then we go to like 43-year-old me, no, 30 whatever year old me I was, 38-year-old me, having done the sound healing, where I finally admitted to myself that I was a part of the problem, because I'd never told, you know, my mum or my dad or anyone else what I actually needed. I'd never acknowledged my pain. I hadn't acknowledged that actually I'd wanted a relationship with my dad, because I put so many walls up. And that's as far as I was ready to go then. And then it took my blip for me to be like, oh, wait a minute. This is it. The way I sometimes describe it is, you know, you get a wound and it heals over and there's a scar. But sometimes you need to cut it open again, because there's a tiny bit of dirt stuck in the bottom, and that's just irritating things away. And sometimes you need to reopen that wound to let that bit of dirt out so that it can actually heal properly. And that's kind of how I feel. Like I was like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm sorted, I'm on my journey, I have my sound healing, all is good. And then I hit this massive low, and it was like, oh, there's still something in there. And that's what I now refer to as your truest truth, which is very often the thing that you're afraid to really see. And my truest truth, my whole life had been, I hate my dad. Then it was, well, I'm indifferent to my dad. It was like, well, he's there, but he's not a presence in my life. And then it was like, oh, well, actually, I did admit it. I wanted a relationship with my dad that I never had. And then the really big release and the truest truth that lay under everything was, I want to be wanted by my dad. Mm-hmm. And I didn't allow myself to accept that until I was 43. Because that was weakness. To admit that I wanted my dad to want me was a weakness in
the mind. But what you're explaining is that the letting out of that truest truth gave you your powers. That it was the most powerful thing to make you the strongest possible Judith.
Yes. And that was the thing that really then made me go boom. And now it's just like, okay, right, life. Now I'm ready. Mm-hmm. Here I am. But if you'd have told 13-year-old me, you'd go, no, I'm fine, I'm sorted. Mm-hmm. And so would 23-year-old me, and so would 33-year-old me.
What I love about the description of how you're doing your work is you're bringing all those ages of you, right, regularly into a conference room just to get a feel and check everybody good, everybody's needs met, anybody's got a story that they're trying to shove down in there, because let's just bring it all out. Because I know sound can do that, sound journeying. And this is what I was thinking about with that question. Did you feel like you weren't your truest true because of some sense of societal stigma that this is weird, that, we're not modern enough yet for these stuff to be?
Oh, so the reason I wasn't telling people about the sound healing, yes. So the reason I didn't tell people about sound healing was, I was like, oh, that they're going to think it's too woo, too weird, too hippie nonsense, and I can't be bothered to explain it to people. I don't want to have to defend myself. So that's that. It wasn't, not shame as much, but just like I can't be bothered to be dealing with people not getting it. So I'd only talk about the sound healing in the holistic community, but I'd never talk about it in the corporate world or in the individual coaching world. But as soon as I started speaking about it, that's when he went, oh, really? And I've actually now taken my 15-second stress reducer sound healing humming tool into a massive international bank, a couple of insurance companies, a law firm, because they are actually now looking for the things that work. Luckily, it's simple, it's quick, it's physical, it's practical, as well as being spiritual and energetic. But it's practical, it's simple, and it can be so effective to just be able to change your state, your energy, through literally changing your vibration through using a hum or a sound.
It's incredible, especially this corporate presentation, that you bring to these modalities, and you have, real proper professional people who are seeking you out. And I do think these things are more and more and more at the forefront. It's just that, I guess, stigma of energy, because it's intangible and we want tangible results.
And that's one of the joys of sound healing, though, especially voice vibration sound healing, is sound is measurable. It's measured in frequencies, in hertz. You can physically feel it. If you just hum, you will feel a physical vibration in your lips, your nose, your chest, wherever you feel it.
Right.
And sound is also used in medicine. So ultrasound is used for getting pictures of tissue. Ultra high frequency sound is used for breaking down kidney stones. Ultra high frequency sound is being used to destroy some cancer cells. So, sound, thankfully, as well as being that there is a massive spiritual element, but it is also very practical, physical, and science-based.
This is incredible. It's so exciting. I think this presentation is going to blow people's minds in the best ways possible. Okay. Okay. Keep your your
Yeah.
instrument to the best of your ability.
I am recently post-COVID, so I still have the post-COVID cough, which is very annoying.
Well, you have some cool software, or these are like silent coughs or something.
I just muted myself.
Okay. That's a very quiet cough.
Yeah. Oh, I'm ladylike. Don't you know, in England, we're all incredibly ladylike. We don't make any external noises with our bodies.
We do know that. And of course it's recorded, so we know it for sure now.
Yeah.
Now, people who employ you to get your service, are you teaching them to do this themselves, or do they work with you just a couple of times and then ongoing?
It can be both. So I have an ongoing membership where people come and do sound meditation with me. I have retreats that I run where people come and do the sounds and they release it. And then some people work with me one-on-one, either online or in person. I have online self-study courses for this stuff. I deliver talks, I deliver workshops, I do one-on-one coaching in corporates. So yeah, I'm just there's an energy trading firm who I'm just about to sign a contract with as well. So that's quite exciting.
It's exciting and energizing for me. Like every time that I like check in on your website, I'm like, wait, there's more here. And like, you're doing more. I'm like, how is she having time to do all of these things? And then also eat lunch.
Yeah, the eating sometimes gets delayed.
Yes. Well, I'm really happy for this work that you've essentially developed. I mean, it's so original. That's the thing that I think is the most I was gonna say the most impressive, but there's a lot of ways that you really impress me. But it's I just applaud what it is that you've done to create something that really bridges something that people need, right? We're all speaking, we're all this actor or actress in our life. We're all sort of fishing for what's our confidence, what's our purpose. And then we all do have energy. And so you've bridged this into very simple everyday techniques, like breathing techniques, humming techniques, sound techniques.
Yeah. And that is what I love about it. It's the physical, practical, energetic, mental, emotional, spiritual. And what I love is that it's so adaptable. So I have a couple of clients who have said to me, I don't do woo. I don't do spiritual. I don't do all that rubbish. I'm like, okay, great. I won't do crystal work with you. That's fine. But I still do the sound energy work with them. I just put it into their physical sound exercises. So they still do the humming, because as well as being something that helps you change your energy state, it also expands your vocal range. So it also helps you with more vocal projection. So everything, it's practical and energetic and everything all at once.
It is everything. So I just have one last sort of point that I just want to nerd out about with you, because I'm crazy about sacred geometry, right? In Missouri Moto's like water crystalline, you can get beautiful crystals saying I love you, jagged when you say I hate you, and even more when they're ignored.
Yeah.
And if we put like sand on a speaker and change different frequencies, then we see different shapes.
Yeah.
Do you talk about that with people, that sense of like structure, harmony?
I haven't, but when I have people who are cynical about sound healing, there are links to videos. I just go, like, this is vibration in action. This is the physics behind it. This is the science behind it, and that is. I'm actually working. Don't know that I've shared this with you yet. I'm working with a doctor on creating a research paper on my sound healing process. So yeah, on using your voice vibration to reduce physical pain and emotional pain.
Phenomenal. Like this is going to be like doctor journaled,
Hopefully. Yeah, we're at really early stages yet, so we're just kind of figuring out how it will work. But yeah, our plan is to get this in a scientific journal.
I mean, I am barely surprised, Judith, because you for sure don't waste a moment getting things out there, and then it's really, I mean, what, 2016 was just a few years ago. The world is hearing your message.
It's very exciting.
Very exciting. So your website, yourwholevoice.com. I mean, I know you have YouTube channels and I see videos from you. Do you want people to check you out on social?
Yeah, most things are at Your Whole Voice. YouTube at the moment, but if you just look Judith Quin Vocal Confidence on YouTube, that'll come out. But yeah, it's at Your Whole Voice on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate this. You're like getting your voice back, I guess, after COVID.
Yeah.
It sounds perfect here today, but thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back soon.
Take care.